Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Gerry, joined today by David, Max, and Terry. We have there's four of us. It's wonderful. So we have to do a match preview because Everton plays City this weekend, and I feel like we should know what to expect, but you never know. So really quick, I'll go into a little bit about City if you've been living under a rock. Current form, they're second in the league with 13 points. They're 4-1-1. Previous matches, they just beat Preston 3-0 in the League Cup. Last week, they beat Watford 8-0. They beat Shakhtar in Champions League 3-0. And they lost to Norwich 3-2. They've got I feel like they've got a decent amount of injuries, which is causing them to kind of have to change some things up about their lineup. I think Laporte is out, Stones is out, Sané is out. So possible lineup. I have no idea if this is legit because Pep always likes to mess around. But possible lineup, Ederson starting in goal, Walker, Otamendi. Fernandinho's been starting at center back for them, so that may happen again. Zinchenko, De Bruyne, Rodri, David Silva, and then up front, Bernardo Silva, Aguero, and Sterling. So, Terry, where do you want to begin with this?
Well, I mean, hopefully it's not 8-0. And if it is, hopefully the goals going a bit slower than they did against Watford. It's like a goal every minute and a half or something at one point. I don't know. It's Man City, isn't it? The best team probably that the Premier League's ever seen. The only thing you can say is they have got their centre. Two of the first three centre backs out. So Fernandinho and Otamendi in their defence are a weakness of sorts. They don't like being pressed anyway. The City defenders. And ironically, I think Fernandinho will probably deal with being pressed a lot more than the centre-backs will, the normal centre-backs. So I just think I think Norwich did give other teams the blueprint on how to play Man City. Just, make it uncomfortable for them, press their centre-backs, don't let them, have as much time on the ball in defence as they want. But then you've also got to think what you do about Kevin De Bruyne, what you do about Bernardo Silva, what you do about Sterling. It's going to be a tough go. It's going to be a tough one, but whisper it quietly. It's not the end of the world if we lose this one. Just saying.
I don't think that was that quiet, Terry, but all right. It was really loud. I heard all of it. Yeah. I mean, it's yeah.
I mean, some people have that mentality. Some people are all for it, but I'm sort of ambivalent. I'm sort of happy either way in different ways. If we beat Man City, fantastic. We beat Man City, and there's still 30 odd games to go for the other business to correct itself. But if we don't. I don't really hold that one against the club, because even if our lives depended on it, they're an unbelievable team, and it's hard for anyone to put a glove on them.
Max, you want to speak on this? Do you have any spots where you feel like, it's funny. I was about to say any spots where you feel like they'll give us trouble, but that's sort of like, hey, are there any thorns on that rose that might prick my finger? I mean, it's just like a lot of.
I mean, in terms of one-on-one battles, where I feel like they'll have the majority of their success, Sterling down the left coming up against our right-hand side is going to be, will it be damage limitation? We don't quite know, but I feel like coming up against this Manchester City side, I don't know. I feel like you've almost got to, as a team, as a collective, as a player in the dressing room, individually, you've just got to set targets and ambitions within the game. Go so many minutes without conceding. Try and contain them. I think what Norwich did exceptionally well is they played themselves out of trouble when they did have the ball, obviously, because although, Guardiola's tiki-taka, obviously it is in possession, what they do in possession what gets all the attention, but just how aggressive they are in how quickly they try and win the ball back as soon as they lose it, like the time frame in which they manage to close the ball down and win it back. The key of playing your way out of trouble when you're getting closed down is, quick one-touch passing, play it out of danger zones. Have we got the individual quality to do at this moment? I'm not quite sure, especially actually, you look at our Premier League form at the minute now after the losses against Bournemouth and Sheffield United. Like, I don't know. Obviously, you go off our last two games against them. I don't think we're going to see what we saw at the Etihad. I think we tried to, we tried to pay them too much respect. I went to the Etihad and we played a 3 at the back, like trying to combat. Like, obviously, playing a 5 at the back there as well, bunkering back, which just did not go down well at all. We tried to play out from the back, which was just closed down and shut off straight away. You get a lot more hope, for example, from the performance of Goodison, where, ultimately we only limited them to scoring within the added time of both halves, which, again, goes back to what I was saying about being able to set yourself, realistic and attainable goals, where, can you shut them out until the end of the half? Can you maintain them? Growing up, Manchester City was always one of those sides. Like, we had a really good record against them when I was younger, and growing up, like, we always seemed to manage to get a result against them. Like, even when the money came in 2008, obviously they had to go through the cycle of getting on the money with the players that they had in. But still, even for a long period of time, I always felt we had like relative success against them, whether it be home or whether it be away. Obviously now, I think since Guardiola's at the helm, it's just a completely different ball game. We've only beat them 3 times since 2013, and it has become quite miserable. But what can I say? What can you say about Manchester City? They probably are the best team in the world, for me, without a shadow of a doubt. Best team in of the Premier League era. Yeah, to be honest, I don't know if I'm going, obviously, because I'll probably be with Accrington. But whenever we play City at home, or whenever I go and see Everton against City, what I take from it is I'm watching Manchester City. This is a historical side. This is the team that's going to go down in history. Like, it's just so good. What can you do? I mean, obviously, I'd love to see Everton be more competitive and see City as an actual competitor and rival. But we're just, we're miles off that.
So, David, when you take a look at, because I feel like you're constantly looking at the statistics and the data and everything about, most Premier League teams. What sticks out for you about this particular match? Something where you're thinking, okay, well, if we do X, then we should be okay, or be a little bit better off. And that, anything in particular where you're thinking where the data leads you into certain conversation points?
I wouldn't play out from the back. I know we were talking about it then, but I don't think, as it was touched on, Everton haven't got the players to do so. I also think the thing of Norwich pressing was a little bit exaggerated. I think they've done it in good parts, but the narrative after the game was they really went at City. They didn't really. They were actually quite defensive. They scored a goal off pressing, which kind of, I don't know, it almost made the narrative that maybe wasn't the case. It'll be interesting to see how Silva sets up, because Everton are right now they're the most aggressive pressing side in the Premier League. So I don't know how he's going to adjust that on Saturday. But the problem is City, just as you both already said, they are the best side the Premier League's probably ever seen, and they don't really. They're the best at everything. They've already had an off day a couple of weeks ago at Norwich. Even in that game, they were by far the best team, and they were really unlucky not to at least get a draw. They probably should have won it. The only maybe chink in their armour for me, from what I've seen, is they're not great at set pieces. pretty. I don't think you'd say the poor, but if there's one place where you could maybe take advantage of them is at set pieces. But except for that, they'd have to have a really off day, like they did at Norwich, and we'd have to be on top of our game. I just can't see Everton having nearly enough to get anything out the game, unfortunately.
So, David, who do you think Silva's going to start with in this one?
You full starting 11.
I mean, maybe your highlights,
maybe differences from say against
exactly
Wednesday. I think Sigurdsson will come back in. I've got a feeling he's going to go with Calvert-Lewin as well, actually. Just because of the work rate Calvert-Lewin does off the ball, the pressing he does, he doesn't give centre-backs too long. And if he is going to deploy some sort of pressing game, then Calvert-Lewin's probably going to be important to that. Personally, I'd like to see Moise Kean play, just purely from, firstly, a non-footballing perspective. I know someone's worked behind the scenes, getting the banner out there. It'd be nice if he could then go on to play in that game. From a footballing point of view, it'd be nice for him to try and get a goal in a huge fixture like that. But I think he'll go Calvert-Lewin. I'll be honest, Gerry, I think he's going to play it safe again. I think we're just going to see the same 4-2-3-1 with the likes of maybe Iwobi back out on the left instead of Bernard, or it'll be Richarlison on the right. Same sort of midfield. There's not going to be that much imagination in my opinion.
Schneiderlin coming back in.
Yeah, although I don't dislike Schneiderlin as much as everyone else. I totally agree. I think it was you that said before, Terry, about he's not very adventurous going forward. I totally agree with that. He doesn't have that confidence to do it, but I think he does do this stuff that you don't pick up on really well. I think he breaks down play quite well, and sometimes he does them too much, but he's good at just recycling the ball with those 5 or 10 yards passes, keeping it moving. If he could just add a little bit more of a direct intent to his game, I think he could still be a good midfielder. Unfortunately, I don't ever anticipate that we're gonna see that in him, which is a shame because it could take him to that next level.
And Coleman coming back in?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Max.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? All of those things that he just said. You're like, I agree.
Yeah, the same. To be honest, I can just see the same setup with the emphasis, being defensive.
Do you think it'll be Moise Kean or DCL up at striker?
DCL. It's got to be stretching the pitch. He always gives that option. If we want to play it long, he'll be there to
He's that out ball, isn't he? Really?
Yeah.
He always played well at City as well. Have you noticed? Like he always has a good game against Man City. Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah. I thought he was instrumental in those that run of fixtures at the back end of last season against the top sides where Everton seemed to be winning them all at Goodison. He seemed to just be really important for that purpose of doing those runs in behind, pressure, coming short, we're going up for all the aerial duels, and it's probably, you're right, it's probably his perfect game.
Additionally, Calvert-Lewin's our best striker in the air, and if they've got one fewer of their normal center backs who would be back there, and if we choose to sit there and whip in crosses all game, that's just more reason to put him in there. So Pickford, Coleman, Keane, Mina, Lukadine, Delph, Schneiderlin, Iwobi, Sigurdsson, Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin.
Unless Gomez is back, then I could see him coming in for Schneiderlin.
Hey. I would love to see Andre Gomez. It's just been a while, It's too long. Because I feel like, just to throw it out there, I feel like this has been said before. It's affected our play. It feels like Gomez not being in there. It feels like we've been clinging on to really kind of ugly performances. And I don't know, for some reason it hasn't felt like us without Andre Gomez in there. Is this me just thinking he's awesome and being totally biased here, or what?
I'll let one of the other
That's
lads,
for anybody, by the way.
Yeah, I'll let one of the other lads answer because I'm not blown away by Gomez, unfortunately. I do like him. I like that. I like what he brings to the club off the pitch, and I think he does okay, but I don't rate him as highly as everyone else.
Who's taking it?
I was like, either one of you guys.
The silence is deafening there.
Go on, Max. Max,
Breaking up on me.
Oh no! Okay. You're good, Max.
Wait, I'm back now. I'd echo the same sentiment as Dave in a way. I just think coming off the I know it's a few seasons back now, but you go from the end of that 17-18 season, like he just brought a flair and a finesse, a comfortability on the ball, very graceful, shields it well, probably doesn't play as many progressive forward passes as he should, and doesn't get involved in goal scoring opportunities. But I've just kind of conceded that this team is just not creative from central areas, to be honest. He is my preferred partner alongside Delph, given that he is the general consensus is that he's a player with attacking intent, and you've got Delph to mop up and do the defensive duty there. But yeah, if he's fit, I do see him coming back in because he's a starter, isn't he? Make no mistake about that.
Terry, anything on that?
I mean, I do rate him quite highly. I think he's definitely the sort of heartbeat of Silva's team. Like I wouldn't say he's got this earth-shattering effect where those two defeats would have turned into wins if he'd have been on the pitch. But I think we're a better team with him than with Schneiderlin, definitely. And I don't want to get hung up on the same point every time, but I'd love to see him in a 4-3-3 and a little bit more freedom to carry the ball forward and see how he gets on then. But I hope he's back because I definitely think he should start if he's fit.
I love him, and that's what I will say. Now, there's a certain arrogance about him, and it's a positive type of arrogance when he has the ball. Just very poised. And Schneiderlin, the good thing about Schneiderlin is he's usually going to not give the ball away in the back. I feel like Andre Gomez, that's one of the things that we saw at Davies yesterday. He was very forward-thinking, but he did give the ball away and took some risks. I feel like Andre Gomez kind of gives you a little bit of what Schneiderlin gives you in terms of defense, but also he gives you a little bit more of the forward thinking in Davies, but maybe not quite as much. He's kind of in between what those players give you, and he just ups the attractive quality big time. Mr. Hugfest. So I mean, we hope he's back, but you never know. I mean, he had messed up ribs. Is that what it was? He had cracked ribs.
Yeah,
that's a weird.
It's
injury.
an awkward injury to get over that as well.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So we'll see. All right. So really quick predictions, Terry. What's the score going to be?
3-1 Manchester City.
Max, the score.
4-1 City.
4-1 City. Dave.
2-0 City.
2-0 City,
yeah.
And I said 2-0 City as well. All right. So that's it. Let's hope we're all wrong. All right. That'd be great. All right. So if you've been digging the videos, please subscribe to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate it. If you want more David, check out his Twitter. He'll tell you when and where he's going to be. There's just a lot of content he's churning out there. So please pay attention to that. Max has the same situation going on. All right. So keep an eye out for he's got a lot of stuff on the boiler right now. So yeah, can't wait to see what he's got cooking. Really excited. So keep an eye out for that. And if you want more Terry, hugs abound for one of the brothers McAllister. Find him. He's on the street waiting for you. He's a huggable dude. Also, Liverpool Echo fan Gerry. There you go. All right. So we're gonna we're gonna pop on over to the podcast now. Gonna do a quiz between these three guys. Sort of Price is Right. Yeah. So that's all I'm gonna give you. Bye. That was an awful throw. Bye.